Now, earlier we brought you John Sopel's report on the US presidential primaries. You may have detected the sound of some strain in Hillary Clinton's voice. There has, though, been criticism from some commentators and on social media of her tone. For instance, Brit Hume, who's a senior political analyst with Fox News, said she was shouting angrily during a victory speech, while others on social media spoke of her shrill voice. Let's just hear a little of her speaking after those primaries on Tuesday.
When we hear a candidate for president call for rounding up 12 million immigrants, banning all Muslims from entering the United States, when he embraces torture, that doesn't make him strong, it makes him wrong.
So, should Ms Clinton take any notice of those criticising the way she speaks? Do such things make a difference? With me is the executive speech coach, Simon Bucknall. Simon, what did you make of that?
Well, the last thing I thought would think of that particular clip is that she sounds shrill. Certainly, if you're in a hall like that as an audience member, it's a very different experience from watching it on television. So there needs to be energy from the speaker, and it can seem a little bit strong sometimes. But to me, it's natural that as a presidential primary candidate who's done the amount of speaking that she has done over recent months, and the same is true of any male and or female candidate, it's not surprising the voice has got some strain. I think you can hear a bit of that. Yeah,
it sounds a bit croaky at times as well, like she's been doing a lot of shouting in very packed halls, trying to get herself heard.
Well, I think so, yes. Those sorts of events, they're high energy events, and it can come across a bit strange, as I say, on television, but when we get stressed, when we have to use the voice a lot, it's natural that eventually the voice is going to start to show that. What's also true, though, that people don't really comment on, is that if a man becomes stressed with a voice, then his voice will also go up. It's just that people still hear the female voice at a higher pitch.
Because the female voice is higher to begin with.
In general, yes, that's true.
And I mean, speaking about this to colleagues in the newsroom, they detect a certain amount of perhaps sexism in the criticism of one female candidate's voice. Not so much criticism if a man went shrill or sounded shouty, perhaps. I think that's
true. I think the word shrill, if it's not sexist, it's certainly patronising, I think, as a description. And to describe somebody's energy, I think that may be something different from just commenting on the voice and how high-pitched or not it is. But to be honest with you, in this case, the election is becoming very, very emotionally charged, it seems to me. So it's not surprising that there are A, men, and B, right-wing commentators who are having a bit of a go.
Simon, we're going to just listen to one famous politician in history who famously tried to change her voice to improve her electoral prospects, the former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Let's listen in.
We must now stand together and fight for the things in which we all believe. They're more important than any of us individually.
He wanted the European Parliament to be the democratic body of the community. He wanted the Commission to be the executive, and he wanted the Council of Ministers to be the Senate. No, no, no.
So there, Simon, it was a sort of before and after clip there, just showing what she'd had to do, thought she'd had to do to sound more credible over the years.
Yes, and I think it's something that many people, not just in politics, seek to work on from a leadership point of view. I meet all kinds of people, both male and female, who want to work on their voice, because there is an authority. It's something in our instinct, in our nature, that lends, as a listener, that lends authority when you hear somebody speaking in a deeper voice, because to do that means you have to be more relaxed. The pitch goes up when things get tense, and that tension creates anything other than a sense of authority in most cases.
Right, so it's all about portraying, conveying calm inside or outside, even if there is not calm inside.
I think so, absolutely.
And people that appeals to people.
I think so, absolutely. People get a sense for how somebody's energy is depending on the voice. And Churchill famously, for example, suffered from terrible nerves and had to work very hard on language in order to convey the kind of authority that he wanted to convey. So I think it's the work on the voice is, as I say, it's a male and a female challenge. But there is something in human nature that means that slightly slower, deeper tone tends to exude greater authority in general. Of course, when there's real excitement and energy, then the voice you'd expect will go up.
There must be a lot of people listening out there who want to know, how on earth do I make myself sound calm if I'm feeling incredibly nervous about giving a presentation or something like that? What would you recommend?
A couple of key things that can make a difference. One is to remind yourself to take deep quality breaths using the diaphragm here.
Which is hard if your whole system's locking up.
It's hard, absolutely, because of the adrenaline of a pressure situation. The body tends to tense up, and as a result the breathing goes shallow. So just taking a moment, I find a tip I was given which has worked a treat for me over the years, and I've passed it on to countless people, has been to tip the chin down. It helps to just centre you and enable you to breathe deeply. So that can really help. And the second thing is to remember that it needs to feel a little artificially deep and slow. If it feels natural, it's probably not quite deep enough, and it's probably a little bit too fast.
Simon, thank you very much. Tips we can all take away with us. Simon Bucknall, thank you very much indeed.
Pleasure.
Executive Voice Coach. And you can get in touch via Twitter. I'm at KarinBBC. Thanks very much for watching BBC World News today.